Hey, if you find that you overthink situations, worry about what you say, find yourself stuck in a decision, or constantly think, maybe I should have chosen something else, this video is for you. I'm gonna give you 3 very simple ways to help you not overthink ever again, including the most important thing for you to do. First, we're gonna start with 3 simple steps. I'm gonna teach you those and then tell you the big takeaway, which is the best advice I can give to help you stop overthinking. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, say hello in the comments below. Let's dive into the coaching. Hey, I'm your confidence coach, Trish Blackwell. I'm so happy that you're watching this video. Step number 1 to help break the pattern of overthinking is to realize that it's a pattern. And we want to identify what is the root of that pattern. Every overthinking pattern behavior has a root. It's time to identify yours. Meaning, does yours come from fear? Is yours coming from perfectionistic thinking? Is yours an inherited behavior, an inherited thought? Did you know that your thoughts can be passed down? A lot of our thoughts have been inherited patterns from people that we grew up with. And by the way, you don't have to accept every inheritance that you've been given. You can disinherit certain thoughts or behaviors or beliefs. And so, or does it come from a desire to control? When you realize what is the root emotion, what am I trying to protect myself? You're overthinking, whether you're overanalyzing a social situation, or you're worrying about what someone thinks, or you're trying to make sure you're making the perfect decision, or you find that your mind is racing at night and you can't sleep. Overthinking is exhausting. It's mentally, physically, and emotionally exhausting. But it's all based on an emotion that we are looking for certainty. But I want to remind you, we create certainty with our thoughts and our confidence that we can figure out whatever we need as we go, versus thinking we need to have all circumstances in life be perfect. So let's identify what's the root emotion that's driving this behavior of fear. It's a fear-based uncertainty. How can I control and make everything perfect? I want to remind you, you're human. So we can't control that which we can't control. So some of overthinking is acceptance. Some of breaking the pattern is acceptance of not always being able to know everything, but doing your best with the knowledge that you have. The second thing to do is to break this pattern or overthinking is to talk back to your overthinking to create a new pattern. Overthinking is just something you've allowed your brain, a sloppy thought pattern you've allowed your brain to do, and it ping-pongs back and forth between a lot of different decisions or narratives, and it kind of keeps you in this nebulous place, right? This uncertain place, and you don't have to stay stuck there. You can talk back to your brain. You can talk back to yourself. You can call your brain out for possibly a false thought, right? Our brain doesn't, just because we think it doesn't mean it's true, or that we have to keep thinking it. It's also really important to know what is the difference between what I think is circumstance or fact. Sometimes we go, but it's this and this and this. But a circumstance is very neutral. And then in a circumstance, everyone would agree to the facts. Sometimes we overthink because we supercharge our circumstance with lots of emotion and judgments. And we're trying to find the perfect solution. And sometimes there's not a perfect solution. There's just a next best step. Or we want to know the next 100 steps, and there's no way to know that. We start with knowing what's our next step, and knowing that that's enough, right? That is enough. I also want you, when you talk back to yourself, it's really important to convince yourself and remind yourself that you actually make very good decisions. And when you make a decision like getting new carpet in your house, or getting new paint, or deciding what school to go to, which person to date, we want to make the decision and then stick to the decision. In my coaching practice and my work with my students in the College of Confidence, we talk a lot about micro decisions. The more you practice micro decisions, the more you are going to be very, very practically practicing self-trust. So every time you make a small decision, even if it's choosing one drink over another, next time you're at Starbucks, just say, ooh, this was the right decision. I'm so glad I'm good at making decisions. The more you emphasize that in yourself, the more you're going to trust your decisions. And so in the case of choosing carpet, hey, I love the carpet I chose. It's perfect. And when you make a decision, you can stick to it, because you know if a year down the road you decide you want to modify it, everything can be course corrected. So we get in overthinking loops and anxiety loops as a result, because we put so much pressure on making sure that these important decisions are good and that they're really done well because they're so important. Can you feel the wave of pressure coming on you? Allow yourself to know that I'm good at making all decisions and I make good decisions. And if I make a decision that I want to modify and change, well, I can. So nothing's so important that to stress out and get you into an overthinking loop. And that's the third thing. Practice self-trust and micro decisions. Remember, everything's figure outable. Make a decision and then stick with it all the way through. You gotta stick with it all the way through. So many of us make a decision and then we doubt it and we go, oh, see, I knew it was the wrong decision. Whoa. You've got to stick with the decision. Follow it through. And if you want to change the decision later, that's fine. But stick to a decision all the way through and look for evidence to reaffirm and confirm that you make good decisions. And we do that by practicing micro decisions. We do that by speaking to the decisions we've made. That, for instance, with a university, maybe you chose one or another, and maybe it's 10 years down the road and you're thinking, I don't know if I chose the right or wrong school. But the reality is you're 10 years out of school. It doesn't matter. You chose the right school because it got you where you need to be today. And even if you maybe would have changed circumstances about that school, those circumstances, those challenges, those things you went through helped you become a better version of you. The struggle strengthened you. And so you can still look at a decision you went, I don't know if it was a good decision, and say, you know what, I've decided that it was. I've decided that it was a good decision. The more you trust yourself and the more you affirm your decisions, the more you trust yourself, the more you will be capable of making better and continuing to make confident decisions moving forward. I got a bonus tip for you. Listen, my best advice to help you break the cycle of overthinking is to take the power back, because when you get stuck in overthinking, it's chaos. There's powerlessness. You feel graspy and desperate. It's the perfect way to just plummet your confidence. I want you to take the power back, because when you think from a place of power, you don't get overwhelmed in the clutter and the cloudiness of overthinking. You have more power. How do you take that power? Well, it's make a decision and stick to it. Remind yourself that just because you've been one way in the past doesn't mean you will always be this way in the future. Decide to manage your thoughts. Decide to commit to journaling every day. Decide to become a student of yourself and the way you think. Decide to talk back to your brain. Decide to get a coach. Decide to practice the micro decisions. Decide that you are back in the power place, that you make good decisions and you're willing to trust yourself, that you want to live in a way that's not exhausting. Overthinking is exhausting, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Decide that you don't want to live a tired life anymore. Hey, and if you haven't yet had a chance, if you don't listen to the Confidence Podcast, I've got great news for you. I actually did a full-length episode 449. I'll make sure it gets linked in the comments below, but you can go check it out at trishblackwell.com/449, where I teach you exactly how to continue this conversation of breaking the loop and deciding to take the power back in your inner conversations with yourself, so that you really break this habit of overthinking and thinking too much in your mind racing. You deserve the peace, the joy, the openness, the free time, the free brain space that comes when we learn how to break and be free from overthinking. And I want to teach you also how to trust yourself, because that's what this is. Overthinking is a lack of self-trust. It's a lack of trust in who you are and who you are socially and who you are intellectually, and in your ability to make good decisions. And I actually have a whole course on that in the College of Confidence. We come with a 14-day money-back guarantee. That is your next step. So go to collegeofconfidence.com to get instant access to that course and to get coaching, personal coaching with me. I would love to support you in helping you really, really take control of the narrative of your mind and the results in your life. Guys, I'm cheering for you. I can't wait to hear how this video encouraged you. Please comment below and let me know. And in the meantime, I'll see you on the next video.